Hi, Nadeem here from Smart Riding Gadgets. I'm going out this evening and testing the AIO-5 Play for BMW by Chigee. Now, this arrived this morning. I did an unboxing video and setup guide on it, and I've been out a couple of hours earlier just testing the system and getting used to it. So this is the bike data display. This is the main screen, the one that you'll see in most of the ads for Chigee and everything as well. You know, it's got the heading, speed, tire pressure monitors, sunset, etc. You can change that to other ones like this. Now, if I tilt the wheel like that and just keep doing that, it gives you a choice of another 3. So there is quite a choice of displays that you can have, whatever's more important to you. And by the way, when you're in this mode, just looking at bike data, if you've got Waze running and you've also got music playing, that will keep playing and Waze will still give you verbal instructions. So it's quite cool. So just by tilting the wheel, I can take it back to the split display, or I can just go full screen, or I can change over to the bike data display. If I just hold it, you just hold it and tilt it for like a couple of seconds and it takes it back to CarPlay. So there is quite a lot you can do with the wonderwheel on the BMW, and this is a 2017 model. There's a bit more integration on the later bikes, I think, with the 1250 and the 1300 now. So overall, even if you've got an older liquid-cooled one, the 1200, it generally works. I mean, you can check on Chigee's website anyway, and they'll tell you which models work with it. But overall, I'm really pleased with this. I mean, I have been arguing for a while that the 7-inch displays are just too big, especially on the GS, because on full lock, the brake fluid hits the screen. I mean, I've nearly broke a couple of my units in that where you forget that you're going full lock into it and you're smashing into it. I've been saying for a while that the bigger displays, like the 7-inch and bigger displays, are a bit too big for use on the bikes. I mean, it's just human nature that we want the biggest because we think that's going to be the best one. We need the biggest. But when we were using the Nav 5, Nav 6 and BMW Connected Ride, whatever, they were all about this size or smaller. And I never had an issue with any of them. And it's been a bit different because I've been testing 7-inch and 6-inch units lately, and I'm back down to this size. And it took me an hour or so to acclimatise to it again, but it's still fine. It's not like I can't read it. I can see everything on the display. I can see what I'm looking at, and it's fine. And with the added benefit from Chigee of having all the bike data, which is just simply amazing. And on an older bike, this is kind of updating my display options. I always kept the Nav 6 for that reason. I mean, a lot of the guys in the Smart Riding group will know I mounted a lot of the smart displays here onto my mirror rather than here, because I wanted to keep my Nav 6 so I can get bike data. Because the Nav 6 will provide you the bike data, tire pressures, battery voltage, etc., etc. And I wanted to keep that functionality. So this does it for me without it. This is a game changer when it comes to BMWs. For any Beamer, especially the GSs. I think it also works on the S1000XR. I'm not sure about all the models. I think there's a few it doesn't work with, so you would need to check on Chigee's website. But I think the S1000XR definitely, and all the GSs, whether it's a GS or GS Adventure, because there is a space here on the bars, and you've got the Nav Bracket. You've got the Nav Prep on most of them as well nowadays. So it's plug and play. Just put it in and away you go. And the setup is so easy for this. It's just connect you have to activate the unit first by connecting to Wi-Fi to give it some Wi-Fi signal, so they can connect back to Chigee servers and activate the unit. And once that's done, you just connect Bluetooth from your phone, and it automatically configures CarPlay for you and everything, and it's done. It took under a minute to connect up CarPlay on this unit this morning for me. But I mean, what I will do is at some point I will do a full guide on how to use the wonderwheel with this on the 1200, and just go through all the different controls and different ways of doing it. And I'll set up 2 cameras and do that at some point. But obviously I need to get a lot more familiar with it myself first. But if you've got a BMW and you're wondering whether this is worth the extra investment over some of the cheaper units, whether it's Capiride or whatever, this simply is in a different class. You know, if you want something better than those, this is what you will buy. You know, if you're happy with a cheaper unit, then fair enough. You know, a lot of people don't want all the bells and whistles, they just want something simple. They will just do CarPlay and that's it. This does a lot more. And if you're buying a new bike, you're buying a new 1300 or you're buying a new 1250 from a dealership, you do not want to be buying the Nav 6 or the connected ride sat nav now, because I think they're coming in at over £600 now. These are retailing about $550, $550, 600, I think, the Chigee unit now. So it's roughly about the same price, maybe a little bit cheaper, but the functionality is 10 times as much as you will get from just a nav unit on its own. This is just way, way ahead of just the nav unit. You know, this is what you want to have. So it's a no-brainer. Nav unit from BMW or a Chigee AIO-5. It's the AIO-5 you want. You know, I just love how you can just change through these. Pick the one that you want to see at that point in time, you know, whichever one you're more comfortable with. You can use them. I'm hoping at some stage Chigee will let us configure these a little bit more in an update. That would be fantastic. I'd like to change the colour of this to red if I could, because I've always liked red on displays at night time, especially because it doesn't destroy your night vision as much when you've got red. So I'd love to see that, Chigee. It only takes a couple hours till you get the hang of a lot of the commands on from the wonderwheel. And it is pretty good not having to touch the display all the time. I mean, there are going to be times when it's unavoidable, but for most things, you know, the main things you're going to want to do is go between this and back to CarPlay. You know, they're the biggest things, I think. You know, that's what you're going to be wanting to do more than anything else. And if you don't have to touch the screen for that, that's fantastic. When I've got Waze full screen, if I scroll the wonderwheel forward, it highlights the find button there, like this. And if I tilt it, it takes me into the menu here. Now, then if I scroll downwards, anything that's saved in there, it lets me select it. So if I want to do a route while on the move without leaving the handlebars, I can select home. Now if I just tilt the wheel towards that way to the right, it will automatically set that route for me. So now it's trying to guide me home. And again, I think that's pretty cool, that I can do that without leaving the handlebars. I know a lot of guys have got this argument that there's too many things or too distracting. I just don't think they're any more distracting than half the things I see in cars these days. I mean, you look at some of the cars, they've got huge, massive side tablets, they've got full screen displays, and there's 1,000,001 things that you can touch and press and do. And it's overwhelming. I mean, I think that these things actually help us more than anything else. You know, they're not hindering us. I just don't see it. I think they help us more. But if you're riding a Beamer, this is the unit to buy. Beg, borrow and steal, and make sure you get the AIO-5. It's just simply heads and shoulders above everything else that I've tried. And I've tried a lot of units now. And I can tell you, it blows them out of the water. You know, for BMW use especially, because like I said, because of the data and everything, you know, it's just amazing. So now this initial first day test of about 3.5 hours ride, this is a thumbs up from Smart Riding Gadgets. I'd give it 5 out of 5. It's a fantastic unit.